Hi guys, welcome to the Thrifts. I'm Mary. I'm a full-time reseller. I resell mostly on eBay and Etsy with a little bit of reselling done on Mercari and Poshmark. I also have a buy and sell group on Facebook called Merriweather Markets Deals, Bargains, and Trades, which I will link to below that you can come by. I put a lot of deals there. I put discounts there for group members of things that are online, listed online. And I also put things that I have not listed in eBay that you can only get in that group alone. We have other sellers there too, so if you are a reseller, please feel free to join and you can post your items for sale. And it's the perfect place to do your holiday shopping because that time of year is coming up and you're going to want some really unique gifts, and that's where you can find them. So I just tried to go live because I've been messing around with making this video now for about 3 hours, and I am too much of a perfectionist sometimes. I think I expect too much out of myself. And the last 2 times I recorded it, I didn't like it, so I thought I would just try to go live. Well, the internet has other plans for me today because, excuse me, as soon as I was getting ready to go live, my computer was like, you need an update. Would you like to do it now or would you like to do it later? Well, I have to do it right then because otherwise it's going to slow my laptop down. So I did the update and I rebooted it and excuse me, and got onto YouTube and it was choppy. And then I tried to stop it and it wouldn't stop, so it was recording me going, what's going on? And getting on my phone and going, this darn thing won't. So what I'm doing is I'm just recording my live show. This is exactly what you would see if you had tuned in and if the internet had been kind to me today. Usually that is weather related, but it's beautiful and sunny outside and there is not a cloud in the sky and there is no rain, knock on wood, coming anytime soon. So I can only attribute it to the fact that lately my laptop has been a little temperamental with me, and I am hoping that this is not a sign that it's about to die on me because I love my laptop and I don't want it to die. It's not really that old, but I'm not looking forward to the expense of a new one. So with that said, let's have a haul. So my husband and I do not do a lot of Goodwill shopping anymore, and it's not for any reason that usually people talk about in reselling groups. Um, it is, I feel very much like Goodwill is a business and they have a right to run their business as they see fit. And if it doesn't work for me, then I'm going to just find what does work for me. But I don't have anger at them towards the way that they want to run their business because that's their choice. They can run it however they want to. Yes, sometimes when they're raising their prices, it does bother me because I'm used to the lower prices and I miss those days when I could go to Goodwill and get something for $1 and flip it for $100. And that's just not so common anymore, at least not here. But I am not going to fault them for that. So that's not why I didn't stop. Why we have stopped shopping. We have stopped shopping at Goodwill mostly. We still go there sometimes, but it's a rare day. Um, we have stopped because here in St. Augustine, we are on the eastern coast of Florida, in between Jacksonville and Daytona. And here in St. Augustine, this is a smaller town. We are the oldest town. You know, I'm going to adjust my camera just a little bit. That's better. We are the oldest continuously inhabited city in the entire United States. So there's a lot of history down here. It's beautiful and it's a great place to come visit. It's a great place to come live. But the thrift stores are not very big, and that's expected in a city that's not very big. Goodwill is small, and so they can't fit a lot in there, and most of it is clothes. As we all know, the United States has an overabundance of used clothing and discarded clothing, and it's hard to get rid of. Most of the Goodwill is clothes. They also have like linens and pillows, and they also have a shoe section, and then they have a small hard goods section with artwork and glassware and stuff like that. But most of it, and they have a little bit of furniture in there. Most of it, though, is clothing. They just don't have room for the other stuff. So they send their stuff to shopgoodwillonline.com where they sell it there. I never see Converse sneakers, Starbucks mugs. Um, I never see anything like Fenton or Viking glass or Murano glass or anything like that. I don't even see milk glass in my Goodwill. It does not happen. What you get is stuff that is from Target, and which is not bad necessarily, but not what I'm looking for. Every once in a while there will be something really good there and I'll luck out, but it's very rare. And as a matter of fact, one of the last times it happened, it was a piece of black Jasperware Wedgwood china. It was a bowl with a lid, and I brought it up to the cash register, and the guy behind the cash register looked at it and kind of gave me a funny look, and I said something about my grandmother used to have it, and I was so excited to have it, which is true, but I was kind of hiding the fact that I was excited to see it there because you don't see that stuff at that Goodwill anymore. And he kind of muttered that wasn't supposed to be out there. So luckily he let me buy it still. But that kind of gives you a clue as to what is in our Goodwills, and it is more challenging. I do get a little jealous sometimes when I see some of these resellers that go to thrift stores and load up their carts with all this amazing stuff, you know, pottery and glassware and figurines and vintage this and vintage that. We don't even have Pyrex in our Goodwill. Nothing. There is nothing like that there. So we just realized that I'm not going to fault them because they just don't have room for it all. And sure, why wouldn't they go try and get the higher prices and do the easier kind of selling on shopgoodwillonline.com? But it doesn't work for me, so why would I continue to go? I'm just, you know, maybe once a month at the most. But then the other thrift stores in the area are also small and they're closed on Sundays. So the only day that I can go is Saturday when everybody else is going. So I have kind of pulled back from thrift stores. Now, having said that, there are some good thrift stores here. Betty Griffin is one, St. Vincent's is another, Alpha Omega is very good. So if you come into the area or you live in this area, try those out. There are some, you know, just search thrift, open up your Google Maps on your phone and search thrift stores. There are some good ones, but don't expect to go anywhere on Sunday because Goodwill's the only place that's open on Sunday. So because it's harder to find things in this area, we have really been focusing on estate sales and yard sales. One of the nice things about being in Florida is that we basically have round the year, you know, year-round yard sales. They end for a short time when it gets a little cold. Now I say cold, I mean cold to Floridians, not cold to this Maryland girl. They're all walking around in parkas down here. I'm still in a t-shirt. But there is like, you know, somewhere around December, it does get legitimately cold. Definitely too cold for yard sales. So the yard sales do stop for a little while, but most of the time it's year round. And so it's always a continuous supply of things that we can buy. Now, my strategy for buying is that I, of course, like everybody else, would love to spend $1 and turn it into $50. And I do look for those things, but I also look for some lower price things that are between $10 and $20 that are things that would be more attractive to more people and that would be easier to list. So what that means is that now I have some of these things in my store, but I have changed how I've done it recently, so I'm kind of phasing those things out and bringing this kind of shopping in. Excuse me. Excuse me. A little drink there. I have already filmed this twice. My throat's like, stop talking. But what I mean is like something that is $10 to $20 that is a little bit easier for people to buy when they're shopping. Like it's easier to just throw a $10 thing in your cart along with your $50 item than it is to buy two $50 items. So they're it's kind of like I think of it as like the candy in the grocery store checkout lane. Like you've got all your stuff in your cart, but you're standing there and you're checking out and you're eyeing that Three Musketeers bar, and before long it's in your cart too. So that's kind of what I think about with this stuff. I've got everything right here, and I do tend to look at it while I'm talking, which I try not to do. But but what I mean by a wider scope of people is that it's not going to be something that's so narrow that that one person just has to stumble upon it. It has to be something that's going to appeal to a larger group of people. So, like, I have one thing that might appeal to people that collect clocks, or appeal to people that like candy, or appeal to, you know, certain, you'll see it in a minute. Um, but so that's what I kind of look for, is things that I think are kind of a wider. And for the lower price stuff, I don't necessarily stick with vintage. Actually, for everything, I don't necessarily stick with vintage. I prefer vintage stuff because you can't get it anywhere else, and because I just personally like it better. But you can't just say, oh, I'm just gonna go to the local store and buy that. I'm just gonna go up to Walgreens and get that. You can't get it anywhere else. So it's helping people find these things that they want to have but have a hard time finding. And so that's why I tend to focus on vintage, but I don't really turn down more modern things if I think that they are going to be desirable to enough people. So while I'm out shopping at estate sales, what I'm looking for are I like kind of whimsical, fun things. I like pretty things. I love shiny things. I'm so bad at that. I have to constantly remind myself that just because it's pretty and shiny doesn't mean it has value. Walk away, walk away. And I do pretty well lately. I was not as good at this a couple of years ago. I was basically buying the things that I liked and then wondering why they weren't selling. And that's uh, it's kind of okay. I mean, you should be buying the things that you like, but you should also keep in mind how quickly they're going to sell. You don't want something to sit in your store for a year. You really want things to keep moving in your store and keep getting that activity, which bumps you up in the search engines, which brings you more shoppers. So rotating inventory is always the goal. So I'm always keeping that in mind. Whereas a couple of years ago, I would have been like, if it's to my store for 2 years, who cares? But now I care. So now I've got all this stuff that's been in my store for 2 years that I'm getting through and getting out and selling and dropping prices on and liquidating. And I have a clearance section, I have a scratch and dent section, and I'm trying to get things going and moving and out. And then if they just don't sell, they get donated, and I have no problem with that. So that's what I'm looking for when I'm at these estate sales. Now I do have a couple of things that's from an estate sale from 2 weeks ago, but I'm going to show you those last because they're kind of fabulous. And I'm going to show you what I bought this past weekend. We went to one estate sale and two yard sales. The estate sale I was so excited to go to because in the ad it had all these pictures of all these military items, and I was really excited to see some of those military items. But of course, we also like to go on the last day of the sale because you get things for 50% off, and I always find good things to flip. And even on the last day, always. I think there was one time we left an estate sale and didn't buy anything, and that's because it was really bare. I mean, I don't even know why they were open. I felt like saying, dude, just pack the rest up and donate it, because you've got like 6 things in here and none of them are desirable. So so we do like to go on the last day to get that 50% off, or to get big deals. Sometimes they tell us, just here, fill up a bag and you have it for $5. But that means that we miss the bigger things, but that's okay. I mean, it's a trade-off. If we want the bigger things, we'll go on the first day. So we walked into this one estate sale, and I immediately recognized that almost everything military was gone. The only thing left were some broken model airplanes and this large propeller, an actual propeller off a Piper airplane, which, oh, I would have loved to bring home with me. My dad used to fly Piper airplanes. I would have loved to have had it and put it up on my wall, but it was $600, which means $300 on that day, and that was a little bit outside of my budget, so I just kind of admired it for a moment and had a little quiet moment of reflection about Piper airplanes, and my dog was named Piper. It was a big thing in my house, so I had that little quiet moment with it, and then I let it go. And we finished shopping, so I'm going to show you some of the things I found there they had some really interesting things, and some of the things, let's see, it's kind of buried here. I have some yard sale stuff here too, so let me just grab everything here. Let's see, that'll go over here. Okay. All right, so the first thing I found were these little ashtrays. Now, I have some kind of a weird fascination with ashtrays. I don't smoke. My husband doesn't smoke. He used to smoke, but he quit when we met because he loves me and he loves himself and wants to be around longer, so he does not smoke. But I don't know, I just like ashtrays. I like the little whimsical ones, you know, that you get, like touristy ones, and I also like the art glass ones. I recently sold a Blanco art glass blue cobalt. It was kind of like in an amoeba shaped ashtray. Fascinating. I found it at an estate sale in the garage, still full of cigar ashes. I picked that sucker up with all those ashes in it and said, "How much for this?" And they were like, "Oh, $1." Okay. So I recently sold that one, and I recently decided, not soon after that, like, I want to start really looking for ashtrays. So I don't know a whole lot about the resale value of them, but I do know that they appeal to me. So I'm going to give ashtrays a try for a little while. So this is the first one that I saw, and it says Bookbinders, Walnut Street in Philadelphia. And it's got that downtown view of Philadelphia, old-time Philadelphia. It is signed Japan on the back. They wanted 3, but I got it for, actually I got it for less than $1.50 because the guy just gave me a one price for everything. So everything was less than what it's marked at. And that black marker is not a problem. A little bit of rubbing alcohol on a Q-tip and it literally washes right off and it leaves no damage to the ceramic. So that is the first one I got, is this little Bookbinders. I have no idea how much it retails for. I have not looked that up yet. Some of these things I know how much they're going for. Some of them I already have listed, I think. Well, one thing I already have listed. But some of these other things I have to really research and figure out how much I'm going to sell it for. So the other one was this one. Now, if you have ever worked in a place where you have a lot of supervisors, or you've lived in some place where there are a lot of heads of the household, you'll understand this ashtray. It says, "Too many chiefs, not enough Indians." And I do realize that it may be controversial to some people, but I have it's also signed in Japan. It says Novco, Japan. But the way I feel about it is I do have some limitations on what I sell. I will not sell things that are grossly pornographic or violent. I forgot to turn my phone off. It just dinged. That's my daughter, but she's gonna have to wait for a minute. So I love you, sweetie, if you're watching. But I don't really seek those things out, but I also don't shy away from them because I feel like people are intelligent enough to make their own decision on what they want in their house, and I'm not going to dictate that. So I went ahead and picked that up because I think it's kind of fun and whimsical, and somebody is absolutely going to love it. So also while I was there, and that is about as political as I'm ever going to get on this channel because I really try to avoid any kind of discussion about that kind of stuff. So, okay, so then we went into the other room and there were some postcards and I thought about buying them, but they were all bigger, and from what I understand, those bigger ones just don't sell well. So I left those behind, and then I second guessed myself for hours afterwards. But I think it was probably a smart choice. Now I'm going to end up looking it up anyway and find out I left a $500 card behind or something. But in there was a basket of Christmas ornaments just all thrown together, and I found this one in there, which is a Sandy cast. Do you guys remember Sandy cast from the 80s and 90s? And she did all these dogs and animals and stuff. Her name is Sandra Bear, I think. Sandra Brew. And she makes all these out of sand. It's just, I think it's sand. I think there's sand Oh, now I can't remember. Maybe I'm just connecting the name to it wrong. But anyway, it's a Springer Spaniel, and I keep thinking it was made out of sand, but that can't be right. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I should look up what they're really made out of, because I did have one of these when I was a teenager in my room. Maybe I'm just remembering that as an incorrect moment of information. Um, but I had a large, like golden retriever yellow lab. No, uh, yeah, like a yellow lab, I think it was, puppy that was made by this. And so that was in the 80s, early 80s. And they do tend to chip, and this one's in great shape because it's got no chipping. Now, if anybody is a dog owner like I am, they have Christmas ornaments of their dog on their tree. I have ornaments for every dog I've ever owned on my tree. And I need one for my cat too. I had a cat that was an awesome cat in the 80s, and he's long gone, so I need to represent him on my tree also. But these people will, there are people that will love to have this little dog ornament that looks just like a dog that they have or a dog they've lost. So I imagine it will sell, and it will sell pretty quickly, though I'm not sure how much they sell for because I haven't looked that up yet. So in that same room was this little trinket box, and I just love trinket boxes. I'm so attracted to them. I probably should, every once in a while I think I should probably collect them, but then, oh my, why is it not focusing? Let's try this way. I think sometimes that maybe I should collect them, but is that not working? That's not working. Come on, focus, focus, focus. Sometimes if I put the white paper behind it, it works, but it doesn't seem to be working this time, probably because I'm peeking out around it. Anyway, it's a nice little teapot trinket box with this floral design and the little flower in the middle with the face on it. It is not marked on the bottom, and I've had enough trinket boxes and sold enough trinket boxes that I can pretty much tell that this one is not really that old. I mean, possibly 80s, but it's just a little trinket box that opens up like this, and it's good for collecting or keeping whatnots in it. Um, but I will probably sell it for about, I'll probably list it for about $15. So since it has no name on it, and I really don't think it has any significant age to it, it's one of those things that people are going to see in the grocery store line. It's going to be one of those candy bars that somebody's going to see that they're going to want. So I did get that. And then out in the main room where I found the ashtrays, I found these two little guys, which I just loved. They're not old. They are definitely more modern, which I'm okay with. They're little elephant creamers for a single serving bit of coffee or tea, or anything you want to put some cream in. If you're like me, you like the whole experience of, I drink tea, not coffee, but you like the whole experience of it, of boiling the water in the tea kettle and then pouring it into your cup and adding your tea, and you put your little creamer and you add a dollop of milk and you stir it, and so that's what these are great for, but also just for collecting. I have a cow creamer collection, and I was tempted to keep the little elephants, but decided I would sell them. Their trunks are up, which means they're good luck. This one is a little bit bigger than this one. This one has a little more detail, which you can see on his feet. He's got the little wrinkles. I did find the smaller one online, brand new, for between $17 and $21, which seems like an awful lot to me. He is not marked, but he's got a bit of a UPC code on the bottom, so I knew that he was new. This one is not marked at all, and I suspect that he also is more modern, just because there's just not that much wear down there, and it feels like it just, the way it's made, the white ceramic, the lightness of it, the design of it, I just am pretty sure it's a modern piece also. So I will probably list these actually in my Merriweather Market Deals, Bargains, and Trade group for about $13 probably with free shipping, and see if I can sell them that way, and then if not, I'll put them up on eBay after a little while. But I think they were so cute. I just couldn't pass them up. That's what I mean when I say I'm attracted to pretty and shiny things. Like, I have to be really careful because I'll pick things up like, ah, it's so cute. And then it just will never sell. So I have to be, elephants are in right now, especially elephants with their trunk up. So I feel confident that these little guys will sell relatively quickly. And so that's why I got them. And let's see, what else was from that? I talked about all that. Oh, I also got this, but I actually am keeping this. Let's see, is that the only thing I got? Yeah, because the other stuff I got elsewhere. Okay. Oh no, there's those two. Okay, I got this glass. It was sitting on the back of the sink, and it says, "Thank God there's a pill for everything." I know it's a bad joke, but it's so funny. It says Naughty Betty at the bottom, so I have not looked up comps for it. I will sell it if the comps are good enough. If not, I'm keeping it. But it only cost me $1.50 because it said $3 on there, so it only cost me $1.50. Now, let's see, what did I not talk about from that estate sale? These ties. Let's talk about men's ties as I bang things together recklessly. Men's ties are wonderful to look for when you're reselling because they are usually fairly inexpensive to buy secondhand, and you can resell them pretty easily because men are always looking for ties. And if you get, I mean, I say men are always looking for ties, but you can also sell them in bulk. For crafters are always looking for ties too. So when I find like a bulk of ties that I can get the entire bulk for dirt cheap, I'll sell them by similar color or similar pattern. If they're what I call business ties, which is just the ties that are pinstripe or paisley or a single color or something like that, a good power tie or something like that, I will sell them in lots for crafters. They buy them and make all sorts of things: aprons, shirts, clothing, purses, seat cushions, hassocks. I mean, I've seen so many things made out of ties, so they sell that way. But individual ties sell according to two things. One is the designer label, which I actually don't look for. I am just not a big designer label person. I am much more oriented by the pattern. So I pick these out by pattern alone. I like to find ties that are kind of novelty, fun ties, or that just are a little bit different than the regular business power pinstripe paisley tie. And so this is what I found. This guy had all these ties in his closet. He had a lot of ties in his closet. Most of them were business ties, but I picked through them all and picked out all of the fun novelty ties. My husband actually pointed them out to me first because he found one of them, and then I just started picking the rest. So the first one is this one that my husband picked out, and it is Tigger in all of his bounciness, and it says Tigger on there, and it has a Disney Pooh label. And these always sell very well. Now I'll show you what I look for. Beyond the design, I look to make sure this label's still attached, that's not falling off, and that it doesn't say something um, like if this was a Disney tie, that it wouldn't say like Joe's Discount Ties or something like that. You want to make sure it's a licensed tie by Disney, and that's what this is. Then I look here to make sure that this is still all stitched together, because this tends to all come apart, and this is in really good shape. There are no stains on the tie. I don't know if you know, but ties were originally made so that men could wipe their mouths when they were eating. So, you know, it gets stains on it, even if the guys don't actually wipe their mouths anymore. They get stains on them, but this has no stains. And then I just check the seam to make sure it's not coming apart, and of course the other end to make sure that it's all in one piece down here and it's not falling apart either. So that's what I look for. These ties are super easy to list. I have a tie template in my drafts on eBay, and then I just put in the proper pictures, changed the title, and fixed up the description, for measurements, or to change it from saying this is a tie that has a lot of candy on it to saying this is a tie that has a lot of Tigger on it, and stuff like that. So it makes the listing go really quick because I don't have to worry about the category, and most of the specifics are the same, and it just makes listing go a lot easier. So you can buy ties and then just boom, 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 one after the other, just bang them out. Now, this guy, this is another slightly political moment, but not a commentary in any part on my end. This is something we have to think about when we're out there and we're looking for things. This guy was a clear Republican because he had many Republican things in his house, which is totally okay. This is a democracy. You pick what you want, right? So I don't fault anybody for any way that they go in politics. But this guy was, so that's not, I'm just saying that that's not why I'm saying he had so many political or Republican things in his house. I feel like I just put my foot in my mouth. Like I was trying to cover myself by saying he had so many Republican things in his house. It's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Just saying it's a fact. Anyway, so this is one of the ties he had, was this Lincoln Republican Party tie, and I love it because I love the historical print to it, and it's so Americana. And the next elections are coming up. People are thinking about politics. This is the exact time to list something like this, because this is when people are going to want to start getting things like this to wear to anywhere, just to wear it because of the historical nature, to wear it because of the Republican Party nature, to wear it to political fundraisers, to wear it to parties, to wear it to work, to wear it just to make a statement. It is made by Museum Artifacts, and it's here somewhere. If it will please focus. There it goes. Museum Artifacts. And again, it's a good tie. It's in great shape. It's got no stains. It's got no rips. It's all put together. So I'll be able to list that quickly too. Now, I have not looked up comps on these ties yet. Ties can go from anywhere from $10 to $60 or even more if you have a really good designer tie. So anytime you get ties, you want to look them up individually. You don't want to just look up one tie and then go, oh, they're all $12 ties. That's not the way it works. Look up each tie individually so you know what you have and you know how to price it accordingly. But even if they are only like $12 ties, it takes you no time to list these, no time to ship them. It takes you as much time to ship them as it takes to throw it in a poly mailer and toss a thank you card in there, seal it up, and put a label on it. And that's it. That's all you have to do. So I do put mine in plastic bags first just because I'm a little anal like that. But they're super easy to list, very easy to store, very easy to ship. So the last ties that I got from him, these are all similar ties, except this one is a different color than the other two. This one's a little red, and it's got all these Indian elephants on it, which I love, with the little seats, riding saddles on it. And it is made by a company called Kissa, which I've never heard of before, but I'm going to look up. And I checked these, and they are all in similar condition, very well cared for. And so I have that one and two of these blue elephant design ties as well. So I do have some ties that are still in the other room needing to be listed, and I'm hoping to just bang all the ties out together and get them all listed. The last two I sold were the Flintstones and various candy bars, and people really do enjoy the novelty. They're attracted to the novelty of it. So I think that's everything from that estate sale. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting something? Probably because I've done the speech 3 times, and so I feel like I've already talked about everything because I have. Okay, yeah, I talked about everything in here, and okay, the rest is, so then we went to 2 different yard sales. The first yard sale, I'll admit, I kind of felt bad for the guy. He had a lot of stuff out that was not really in demand, that I didn't think he was going to sell anything else. It was all just like stuff. And I could tell he was feeling desperate because he had a box at the front with all these electronics in it that said, make me an offer. I mean, he was at that point where he was like, I don't even want to price this stuff. Just tell me what you want to pay for it. You can walk away with this set of cordless phones, which I probably should have put more attention into, but I just don't know enough about them. So, and they weren't in the box. I really like to, when I find electronics, I like to find them in the box, freshly, so so I know that they work. But I did feel a little bad for him, and because I felt a little bad for him, I did kind of look at some of the smaller things I might not have looked at before. But the first thing I saw was this dog butt wall hook. It hooks on the wall, and it's got this little hook. And it's funny because I almost bought one off Amazon a couple of weeks ago. I think they wanted something like $20 for it, somewhere around there. And here I found this one at this guy's yard sale for 50 cents. So I will probably go ahead and just use this to hang my dog's harness and leash off of. But these are the kind of things that you can find at yard sales that are still being sold on Amazon, that you can undercut them slightly. I wouldn't undercut them too much because then people go like, what's wrong with yours? But if they're being sold for $20 on Amazon, I'm guessing that's what I mean, I think that that's what they were going for. But you could sell one that's used. I mean, I say used, but this doesn't even look used. I don't even know if he ever used it. There's no wear on any single part of this hook. But you could, put this up for 15 and somebody will be like, oh, well, I can get that one for $5 cheaper. So, look for this stuff when you're at yard sales. So I did buy that from him for 50 cents. And then I also got this from him for 50 cents. It's a deck of cards. It says One Love, One Piece, Jamaica. No problem. It is in a case. It's still, you can see they're still sealed because there's that little thing you pull off to take the plastic wrap off. So I haven't looked these up either, and I don't expect to get a whole lot from them. But the nice thing about these cards is I have other decks of cards, and if these aren't going to sell well by themselves, I will throw these in a lot of playing cards that I already have. Some people love to collect cards, so they might not want to spend $10 on one set of cards, but maybe they'll spend $20 on 3 sets of cards or 3 decks of cards or whatever. So I just went ahead and got it because I kind of felt bad for him. He said, just take what you want, pay me whatever you want. I'm like, dude, I'll pay you the whole dollar. So then we went to a second yard sale, and this one was a little more busy, a little more upscale. They had nicer things. They had a lot of designer handbags. I don't really delve into the world of designer handbags. I can kind of tell, like I know how to tell a fake Coach bag because for a while I was selling Coach bags, and so I had to educate myself on how to tell when they were fake. But the fakes are getting better, and it's getting harder and harder for me to tell them apart. And it got to the point where I just decided that the designer label wasn't that important to me. I would rather go for like fun bags and kind of like the purses that I like to carry, that kind of thing. So it's the same when I go to the yard sales. It's like I was looking at the purses. She had some really nice purses there, but I couldn't tell if they were legitimate or not. And I don't want to get into selling a counterfeit purse on eBay and having the company come after me with a Vero strike and having eBay say, slap my hand. I don't want to get into any of that. So I left all that behind. But they did have some nice stuff. So this is a set of pins that my husband picked out. This one's playing cards. This one is a skull with a deck of cards and a little ace in his cap. Now, my camera might not focus on these because they're gray. There it goes. Okay. And this is a motorcycle engine. And this is a skull with an iron cross behind it. And this is a flaming skull. These are very much like biker pins. Focus. There we go. I am just going to lot them together. I wouldn't make much on selling them individually, but as a lot, I think I could probably get like $15 for all of these. So I was pretty excited to get those. And then on the table, I found this, which I was like, must have. It's a Hershey's Kiss desk clock. And it's really funny, it was not working when I picked it up. And about 2 hours ago, it just started to work. So long as it keeps working, I don't have to change the battery. But if it stops, I'm gonna have to change the battery. So it is, felted on the bottom, and it says made in China, which is okay for something like this because it's newer. And I looked up comps, and I think I could sell it for around $15. So I think I spent $3 into 15, which I'm okay with. And that's also gonna be easy to list because there are other ones on eBay I can sell similar and just bam, 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 fill it out. Let's see, last thing at that yard sale, right? What am I missing? Oh, I know what I'm missing, because at that estate sale, we also bought a book, a recipe book on shots, alcohol shots, like Jello shots and stuff like that. It's a recipe book, and we might keep it and we might sell it. I don't know. And then we got two of those little gliders that you put together for my grandson. So those are over there. I didn't include them in the haul, but that's why I keep thinking I'm forgetting something. I'm forgetting. It's because of those things over there that they're not important. We're not really reselling those. So, but this was at that last yard sale. Now, if you recognize this pink box, and you know what it is just by looking at the side of the pink box, drop it in the comments below. Let me see if you're right. It's kind of like, when you see that Tiffany blue box and you recognize it immediately as Tiffany? Like, tell me what you think this is. Here, I'll give you a little shot at the tag. The tag says that it is originally $69. Okay? All right, are you ready? What did you guess? Because if you guessed Betsy Johnson, you are correct. You win. Da, 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 da. Nothing except for my praise. But Betsy Johnson, the box was sticking out inside. I mean, I opened it up thinking this is either going to be a fake Betsy Johnson, because yes, her things are faked. They are faked. Don't let anybody tell you it's just cheap costume jewelry. It's not faked. They are faked. They send them over from China, and I unknowingly, I think, bought one once. I have not listed it because I want to make sure it's legit before I list it. But this is not a fake. This is a real one. I was excited when I opened it up. A little nervous before I opened it up, but when I opened it up, I saw this mirrored box and this great watch right here. This is Betsy Johnson. It's got the rhinestones. It does need a battery. It's not working. This is brand new in the box. It's never been used. It's still on its little cushion. It's still got the original store tag, which is how I know that it's legitimate, because it's not something that somebody bought off of the internet. I'm probably going to try to peel that yellow label off. Actually, I can do that a little bit right now. And you can look with me, because if it has that little cheetah print pink tag, it's fake. And no, it does not. It's legitimate. Betsy Johnson timepieces. There it is. So it's good to know that I can peel that sticker off too, because that'll help sell it with the original tag on it. So I was really excited. She had $10 on it. I asked her, what's the lowest you'll go? She said $8. I said sold. So I spent $8 on it, and I think I could sell it for between $45. Maybe I could push $50 because it's still in the box. Although there's one little place on the box that has a little ding right there. But I think that I can sell this. This is a perfect example of why I say, come look in my group for things like this that you can give as a gift. This is perfect to give as a gift. It's untouched, it's unused, it's still in the gift box, exactly like it was when the original person bought it from the store. So it would be a great Christmas gift for somebody that loves Betsy Johnson or loves this kind of watch. I was really excited to get that. I was very happy to get that. So that was everything that we got last weekend. Then the weekend before, I think it was, I'm trying to kind of talk quick because I know I'm at 45 minutes already. I have 4 more things to show you. Well, I'm going to start with this. I just listed this. I bought this actually, I think 2 weekends ago, maybe 3. It is an antique piece of pink satin glass. It's a creamer. The trim I thought was tarnished silver is actually just aluminum or pot metal, but it has this gold gilt here. You can see it's hand painted. There we go, gold gilt. It is not signed on the bottom. It does have a little bit of flea bites on the inside. You can see I've cleaned it very well, but it does have these flea bites just on the inside. There aren't any on the outside. There's no chips, there's no cracks. You can't even see the flea bites on the outside. Well, that one, I guess you can see that one. Little one right there. Um, but the rest of, and I don't even know, maybe that's just paint. Oh, I think that's just paint. I don't think that's, no, that's not one of the flea bites. That's a piece of paint. That's supposed to be there. Well, sort of supposed to be there. But I bought this at a lady's estate sale that she just went into assisted living. And I went on the last day and I was looking for things. The rest of the things from this haul are already listed online, including, and I did not open my notes part of this, so let me just go by my memory, including the Blackamoor figures that I have listed on eBay and the vintage Lefton pineapple and rose salt and pepper shaker set that I have listed there. I got from the same estate sale. Now, this one had a little card included, and I asked the lady about it to make sure that it was the card that went with this piece, and she assured me it does. She said the woman that lived there even made a point to ask them to make sure that this card stayed with it. I have a feeling that she does not have any family to pass her things down to, or if she does, they just didn't want a lot, which is okay. I mean, times are changing, and the newer generations, and I include myself in the newer generations, we aren't as able to just take on our parents' things and take them as our own. You know, by this stage in our lives, we're established, we have our own furniture, we have our own things. We might not be able to fit things in our house, and we just don't want everything, you know, and that's totally okay. I mean, I know it's changing, and it is sad in some ways that these things have been passed down from generation to generation, don't make them to the next generation. But I think that this is one of those things. And she is actually the estate sale that had a box there that said that it was passed down to her from her parents, and it was supposed to be passed down to somebody named Mary, and apparently Mary doesn't want it because it was still at that estate sale when we went back the second day to buy this. When we went there on the last day and bought this and the Blackamoor statues and the vintage salt and pepper shakers. So this card does go with this, and it's from somebody named Grovine, and it says lots of love, Grovine, 1986. And so I assume that's when Grovine passed it down to the lady whose estate we were shopping at. This is Mimmer's wedding present for my great aunt Annie Donkel, Tat's sister, June 1901. So that dates it for 1901. The card is in there. It is listed as being in there. I have this listed for $63 or best offer. I have no problem taking best offers. I have no problem haggling. I have no problem, you know, considering offers so long as they're respectful and they aren't like, I'll give you 20 bucks for that $63 thing. No. But if you want to talk about a little discount, I'm always open to that. So I don't mind putting best offer on my things. So that's listed. The Blackamoors are listed. The salt and pepper shakers are listed. Everything I got from that estate sale is up and listed. So last weekend we also went to another one. Now I was looking at, I think it's estatesales.net or the yard sale treasure map app, which is attached to Craigslist. And I saw the ad for this estate sale, and I saw one thing that I just had to have. Now, I mentioned earlier that I collect cow creamers. I also collect cast iron vintage Amish people. Both of those collections were inspired by my paternal grandparents. My grandmother, when I was 6 years old, gave me my first cow creamer, and since then I've just been hooked on them. And I inherited a large portion of their cast iron Amish figurine collection when my grandfather passed away, and I have them lovingly displayed. I am not the kind of collector that collects everything in one uh, of one subject. I am very picky about the cow creamers I get. I am quite picky about the Amish people I get. I want no two to be alike, so I'm always looking for different ones that I haven't seen before. But I also collect Buddhas, and the reason that I collect the Buddha is because when I was a little girl, I used to love to go to yard sales and just buy weird things. So in my room, I had the bust of Queen Nefertiti for a long time. I don't know what happened to that. I think I sold it at a yard sale, actually. And I also had this just charming little Buddha who is the more well known as the fat or laughing Buddha. His name is Hotei, or I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hotei is another name for him. He is based on an actual person whose name I will never remember without looking it up. He is the Buddha of happiness and wealth, and I don't know why I just connected with him when I was a little girl, but I did, and I had him in my room for a long time until I grew up and thought I didn't need it anymore and got rid of it. I mean, I used to walk in and out of the room and rub its belly. I knew nothing about religion at that age. I just felt drawn to it, and like that was just such a important part in my life. But then you get to a certain part in your life where that stuff doesn't matter anymore, and then you get to be my age and you're like, I want my childhood back. So I do collect the Buddha, and I'm quite picky about which Buddhas I collect. There's a lot of symbolism that goes along with the Buddha statues, and so you are you have to look at the symbolism and not just the fact that it's the Buddha. So I am always looking at that at the same time when I'm looking for one that I want to keep. Um, and I will preface that by saying I am mostly English, Welsh, Irish, and Scottish, and Scandinavian. I am Celtic and Viking completely. I have nothing else in my DNA. I've had it tested, so I can't explain why I'm so drawn to the Buddha. I just am. Anyway, long story short, long story not short. So I saw in the ad of this estate sale that they had this Buddha that I just loved. And like I said, we go on the last day, so I was expecting he was not going to be there, and we opened the door and walked in, and he was sitting right there by the front door. Nobody had bought him. I was so happy. They wanted $20. I got him for 10 because it was the final day and 50% off. This is Hotei, the Buddha of happiness and wealth. He has, his symbolism is this hat that he's wearing is a symbol of a long life. He's got a child down here, and usually the Buddha is surrounded by 5 children. I don't really understand the symbolism of the number 5, but I'm sure I could look that up and learn it real quick. But this one, he only has the one child. He is holding a bat in his hand, and he has a snake, a serpent, over his shoulder that he's holding in this hand. And the snake, oh goodness, this is where my memory issues fail me because I know it, but it's like the snake is a symbol of renewal or rebirth as a snake sheds its skin. That's what that's a symbol of. And then the bat, I think, is a symbol of prosperity. I don't know why the bat is a symbol of prosperity, but if you can see, he's holding a bat right there in his hands. So, so I did get this Buddha. I originally was thinking about keeping him, but I am I like to do what I call catch and release, where I buy it and keep it and enjoy it for a little while and then pass it on to somebody. I'm probably going to list him only because I spent $10 on him and I think I can get 40 or 45 for him. And somebody else will absolutely love to have this one in his home. I really do like this one. It's not necessarily the ones that I would keep, but I really am drawn to this one, so I'm going to enjoy him and rub his belly every day. And then when somebody buys him, I'm going to send him off to his new home where he's going to bring prosperity and happiness to their home. So I was really excited to see that the Buddha was still there. And okay, then at that same estate, they just had the best stuff. I would have loved to have seen it like on the first day before everything was all the big things were bought, because I'll bet that they had amazing stuff there. When I walked in, they had a table full of vintage cameras, and I was really interested in them, except there was a woman that was hovering right up against the table, talking on the phone, explaining every single camera to whoever she was talking to on the phone. And I get it, sometimes whoever it is can't join you, or you need to call somebody and ask about something. But I thought it was really rude that she was just hovering over them all. It was as if her body language was claiming them all. And I felt like I couldn't just sneak around her and go, "Excuse me, but I want to look at that camera right there that your body is practically on top of." So I just decided to let her hover and do her thing, and I was going to go look at other things. And I'm okay with that. I think there were a couple of cameras that I could have made some money on, but I'm not really in the business of elbowing people out of the way, even when I think that they're being a little on the rude side. So while we were there, we also found these, which I love, these little Cinnabar, am I saying that right? Cinnabar antique Chinese snuff bottles. Now, snuff was not opium or cocaine. It was tobacco with spices in it. And yes, they did scoop it out and suck it right up into their nose. But these are snuff bottles. There are 3 of them. There's the dark red one, there's the green one, and there is the light red one. And we got them for $4 a piece. I think I can sell them for about 30 or 35 a piece. These are priced kind of all over the place. You'll see some that are priced for $10, and people, if you're selling these for $10, you're selling them too cheap. And you'll see some that are priced for $135, but I've seen this exact one sell for just under $30, $28, I think. So I'm going to price them each probably around the $33 mark with the best offer on there. I am going to list them individually only because I have concerns that if I have my first picture be all 3 of them and then have a drop-down menu, somebody's going to think that they're getting 3 of them for $33, and I just don't want to get into that battle. So it's in great shape. There's absolutely no damage to these things. It's probably not going to focus because it's such a small part of the shot. There we go. No damage. I say that and then I see this little thing. What is that? I don't know. There's a little white mark there, which I'm going to look at later. I don't think it's damage. I think it's just like a piece of paper that got stuck to it or something. Now, the thing about these is usually when you find them, because they are so old, they are from the late 1800s, and usually when you find them, the little spoon inside is gone, but each one of these has the spoon. So, so that should help with selling them. Now, there is some concern about what the spoon is made out of, because it might be made out of ivory. I have not checked it yet. I have to get in with a magnifying glass or a loupe and really look at it to see if I can see the Schrager lines that ivory will have. It could also be any number of other things. It could be bone. I'm hoping it's bone. But even if it is ivory, now I have not looked at the law in a while, but the last time I looked at the law, it was when I was thinking about selling piano pieces, and I wanted to know if I could sell the ivory keys. And there is a part of the law about selling ivory that says that if it's a small part of something else, it can be sold. And they do that because of musical instruments. Clarinets with, or not clarinets, pianos with ivory keys and things like that. So I am going to have to look to make sure that they can be sold, and first I'm going to have to look to make sure that that's ivory. I'm hoping it's just bone. And if it is ivory, I'm going to have to look at whether it can be sold since it's such a small part of something else. That might be part of why you only find them without the spoon. But if I can't legally sell them, I will keep them. I love them. I mean, I wouldn't be sad to be stuck with these. I just wouldn't. But I'm hoping I could sell them because $30 to $35 each. That's pretty good for a $12 investment. If I can make, $90 to $100 off of all three of them. So I found those over by the jewelry, and I did get some jewelry there, but one of them was this necklace. Clink, clink, clink. Which really, I just kind of, it was right up, it was the candy bar at the checkout lane. It was right up by the checkout. I was paying, I grabbed it. I didn't look at it closely enough. It has one piece that I just glued back together the other day, which I'll never find now because I glued it really well. But it has another one right here that looks like it's breaking. It's got all these lines in it. It looks like it's about to break apart. And then I noticed last night, now I'm not going to be able to find it again. There it is. This chunk actually has a big part missing. That should be a full piece, and it's not going to focus because I'm back here. But you can see that it's got this chunk missing down here. So what was a $70 necklace is probably just going to be sold for repair or craft. And then I have another one too, but it's all the way over there. It is I have it listed on my Etsy shop. I can't remember off the top of my head who that is. Trifari. It's a Trifari necklace, and it's a gold necklace with rhinestones. Absolutely gorgeous. I have no idea how old it is, but I think it's old enough. Maybe I didn't put it on. I think it's old enough to be on Etsy. I hope, because I listed it over there. Because I have all jewelry on my Etsy store now. I took everything else down so that I can ship only so I can ship for free. Everything's shipping for free. And that's not because Etsy said I had to. Most of my stuff was already listed as free shipping, but I just wanted to take advantage of their higher ratings and in the search engines for people that offered free shipping over $35, and I didn't want to have to ship huge heavy Murano glass, so I took all that stuff off, put it all on eBay, and it's all just jewelry and photos and postcards, things like that, over there on Etsy. So if you have an interest in that, please go stop by and look at my store. It's called Meriwether Market. Link is down below. Now, the last thing that I got, and the last thing I have to show you actually, are these bowls that I found in the kitchen of the same place where I found the Buddha. These are art glass bowls. They are amazing. Of course, I closed all my notes, but I think I remember who made it. I did look it up. There are 5 of them here. I'm going to put these aside though because we're just going to talk about the one because it's a lot easier to do it this way. They are, let's see. Let me see if I can show you this way because you'll be able to see it better. They're purple, but they have this drip watercolor coloring to them, like it was upside down like this, and then the color was just dripped on. And it kind of looks like a flower in there. Absolutely beautiful. I love the way that they have these dips where you can put a spoon. So if you use this for cereal, if you use it for salad, it can be used for anything that you munch on, chips, pretzels, or grapes, or berries, or anything like that. And you have a place to rest your spoon, or it's just a really neat little design on the top. And now, like I said, I have 5 of them. People usually buy dinnerware in even numbers, and from everything I've read, 4 is the magical number. 4. 4 is the magical number. So it's best to sell your things in sets of 4. I have 5. I tried to only buy 4. They would only sell them as a set of 5, but I ended up getting them for about $1 a piece, so I'm okay with that. Maybe I'll be stuck with one. Oh darn. But I could also sell them as 4 and then sell this one, you know, one more separately, or I could just offer this as a free gift, like buy 4, you get one for free. Um, uh, so I could do it that way too. I think now from what I looked up, I'm not going to remember this guy's name right. His last name was Israel. His first name might have been Serge, something like that. He makes. I found him fairly easily after looking up watercolor glass. He makes things like this. I'm pretty sure that's who it is anyway. This is not marked, so I have no way of being certain, and I didn't find these exact bowls. But I found other bowls with the same technique, the same style, that look so similar to it. He must just make individual. I mean, these are not mass produced. These are all of the drip glaze, you know, the drip color, the pattern is different on each bowl. So these are all made individually of each other. Um, so obviously they were made as a set. I wonder if they were made as a set of 5, or if they were made as a set of 6 and one broke, or if there was an open stock where you could go and buy as many as you wanted. I'm kind of curious about that. But anyway, I think that I can get about $10 per bowl, which means that the set will cost about $40 and I can get about $10 for this one. Or if I just put them all together, I'll just do 40 for the flat thing, so that somebody is literally getting the 5th bowl for free. Because I really don't like to say you can get this 5th bowl for free and then bump it up by $5. You're not getting it for free. Then you're getting it for $5. So I was really excited about these. They were sitting in the kitchen. I was in there looking for mugs, didn't find a single mug. Man, people just buy those mugs up every time I go to an estate sale. It's a hard thing to find a good mug that's still there. But I was looking for the mugs, and everybody's just walking right past these. I just thought that, I even walked past them twice. I was like, those are pretty, but those are pretty, but. And finally, by the 3rd time, I was like, why am I not getting these? Look at how fabulousness. Look at the fabulousness of this. So that was the last thing that I got, and like I said, I paid about $1 each. They were actually priced at $12. I got them for I think about 5. They gave us a little bit of a discount too because we bought all this stuff and we were spending so much money. Um, so I think I got those for about 5, which is not bad. I'll turn 5 into 40. I'm good with that, or possibly 50. I'm good with that. So that's it, right? I showed you everything. The Betsy Johnson watch, the little, yes, I showed you everything. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up so that I know that you did like it and that you were here. Comment below if you have any kind of questions or comments about anything you see here. Let me know what you guys collect. I would be really interested to hear what you guys collect. I have collected these things for so long, and I feel like I should have shelves and shelves of them, but I just don't like the big, you know, tell me too, are you one of those collectors that you like to collect everything about something, or just a certain pattern or a certain color, a certain style? I'm really interested in that. So drop your comments below. If you're brand new here, I appreciate you staying for the entire thing. I love that you stopped by. We're at about 1 hour and 10 minutes. I'm not even going to edit this. I'm just going to pop it up as it is. Hit the subscribe button below because I'll have more videos. Sometimes I talk about jewelry. Sometimes I talk about Murano art glass. Sometimes I talk about all kinds of other things. We will eventually be having episodes about living in an RV because we are going back to that lifestyle. I just don't know when. And when we do, we will be doing some traveling around the United States and buying and selling as we go. We are also seriously talking about getting back into storage locker auctions, and I think that would make a super fun video for you guys to come to the storage locker with us and see what we find as we pull it out of the boxes and see the realities of buying a storage locker. It's not as beautiful as they show you on TV. Nasty stuff in there, but good stuff too. So it's always fun. It's always worth it. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that little bell next to it so that YouTube will notify you when I upload a video or go live. And I will try to go live again. Today just didn't work. Sometimes that happens. I tried to go live on my mobile phone. YouTube said, nope, we're not letting you do that anymore. I don't know why. I'll have to read up on it, but I am not big enough for that, I think. I think I have to be more subscribers, more activity. They don't want me to go live on my mobile phone, so I had to use my laptop. Hopefully this laptop is going to live for a while longer. So again, thank you for stopping by. Thank you to those who came to my live show and struggled so hard to watch me and gave me feedback on how bad it really was. I have deleted that, by the way. And I hope to see you guys soon again. I hope to put out, I am determined to be churning out more videos. I cannot do a daily video. I can probably do a once or twice a week video, but that's probably about it. I do have health conditions I have to think about, so that's just going to be too much. But I definitely will be here more, and I'm excited to sit down with you guys and talk more about reselling and vintage stuff and all these things that I've been buying and selling and all the things you guys have been buying and selling. So I will see you guys again soon. Thank you so much. Mwah. Have a wonderful day. I almost grabbed my Buddha to use as my mouse. I grabbed his head. Like, that's not my mouse.